Welcome to the Founders Chat, where I talk with founders about the hidden moments behind building their companies. Today we have Elisa Perez with us, former Google, former Meta, and now building her consulting firm. Welcome, Elisa.
Hi, Alan. Thank you so much.
Okay, so tell me a little bit, what is Elisa Consulting? What are you building?
So, in Elisa Perez Consulting is a consulting firm that helps leaders advance in their careers, and then it helps companies to hire or to build high performing teams, especially focus on leadership teams.
Sounds great. And you have a lot of experience building teams, right? I saw you were a director at Meta.
I do. I was for many years leading big teams of hundreds of people, and yeah, that's a passion of mine. So there is a mix of where my passion holds, and then the expertise. So it's this kind of the mix of the two, right? Yeah.
So I'm really curious how you managed to make this decision of leaving a super top 1% job at the top company to start a business on your own. What's the motivation?
Yeah, it was a bit organic. So I left Meta. When I left Meta, I was part of the layoffs. And there was a moment in which my values were not aligned with the company anymore. So I wanted to exit, but I've been there for over 10 years. So obviously the package would have been fantastic. So I waited for that. And then I was lucky enough to be part of one of I think it was like the fourth or the fifth wave of layoffs. And then when I was kind of out of Meta, I thought a lot and I reflected so much of like, what do I want to do next? I was already in my 40s, kind of, and I was like, do I want to go to corp after 20 years of having worked day in, day out in these kind of corporations, which take a lot of energy and a lot of effort. And in the end, it's not something yours, right? And then back in 2020, I founded a company with a colleague of mine. So I was co-founder of this executive coaching firm. I'm a certified coach as well. And that was something that I really liked, but it was the net, right? Because I had still the Meta job. So it was working as a founder, but not really. It was more kind of a hobby in a way, right? So then I was like, fast forward to last year, I was like reflecting a lot. I was a bit afraid, to be honest, of doing something by myself. And I was kind of back and forth of like, should I do it? I'm afraid. What if I fail? So all these things that go through your mind, right? When you are about to kind of jump into the void in a way. And in the end, I was like, you know what? This is something that I absolutely love. And I see there is a massive market need there for leadership support. This is not leadership development. There are a lot of companies that do L&D and they are fantastic, but someone that has been in business working in Google, Meta, and so on and so forth, and bringing that value to other companies, to startups, I think is invaluable because I have worked in the business, right? So that's kind of when I was like, okay, let's go ahead, and what's there to lose if it goes bad? Then we'll think of a plan B, C, D, and that's and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like when making these tough decisions because leaving the safety net is really hard because you leave a stable job and you leave a group of people as well that you've been working for years. And lifestyle, I would say, because being a founder requires more time. You probably know that already.
Yeah.
But I like to use the minimize regrets framework. I think it's if you want to find a corp job, you can do it anytime with your experience, right? So that's your plan B now. And building something is something that is hard to do and it's hard to take decision to start. So I think looking back in the future, you would have probably regretted more not starting this consulting company full time.
Yeah, exactly. And as a coach, there is a question that I talk to my coaches a lot. It is like, think of yourself, of your 80-year-old self. What would this person tell you, right? And when I asked to my 80-year-old Elisa, kind of in her rocking chair, looking at the sea, probably she would have said, like, seriously, you didn't try. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned that you started being an executive an executive coach as a hobby. So, and you continued doing this. So when you started full time, you already had a few customers.
Not really. So I had this company back in Ireland where I was for many, many years. And this was an executive coaching firm basically for women, right? So we were working through the pandemic into, I think, like 2023. Then I moved back to Spain where I'm currently living, and I had to stop. We closed the business. So no, I started from literally from scratch. Yeah, zero, zero clients.
Okay. And how was the journey of getting the first customers then? Them Spanish, you do it face to face, or it's more like a global remote service?
Yeah, it is United Nations, honestly. Like, I mean, at Meta, I was managing a team that was global and we had like over 120 nationalities. So I'm really used to working globally. So my clients are literally all over. So I have clients from TikTok in China. I have clients in Latam, in Argentina. I have a lot of clients in the US, some clients in Spain, clients in Dubai. Like there is a mix of clients spread across the globe. And I don't even think about it ever. It's more like I do everything online. The odd time I go to a client's, if they are in Madrid, I go to a client's office and then we have a session there, but that's kind of the exception. And the norm is that I do everything, every consulting. I mean, there's a, let's say, a leg of executive coaching, and then there is another leg that is more kind of consulting on leadership, dysfunctional teams, so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll do both of them online. Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of being able to work from wherever you want, right?
And what could you say is the persona of your ideal customer? Is there a defined persona, or it can be like small company CEO and a fang director, for example?
It is exactly like that. So I work with individuals, and I work with startups in Madrid as well. I work with some scale ups, and then I work with like massive corporations as well. So it's a bit of a mix. I think for me, most of my clients are in tech, and that's probably due to my expertise. But like this is transferable to any kind of industry.
Yeah, I guess now, are you working with AI companies?
Yeah, I have one right now, and there are many. They're growing as mushrooms. I would say. I would say
Yeah, and now I could say to be able to fundraise and be successful fast, it has to be a big AI factor in the product.
definitely. I mean, yeah, all the companies I work with, they work with AI, but being like purely AI driven, I have there's one. Yeah.
And is there something from your early story that most people don't know?
Think from my early, so my first, I will share my first job ever. I was 13 years old, and I was really good at science, math. So I was a math teacher for kids that were 1 year younger. So they were like 12.
Okay.
And I think my first, I'd say, work achievement was one guy, let's call him Peter. He had been failing math for like years and years, like and years. And in the first exam, he got a 9 out of 10. And for me, that was like such an achievement, and I was so proud. So that was, yeah, that was a moment that was really fantastic. And where I was like, okay, if you work hard and work with people and support them, they can do amazing things.
So you were an entrepreneur when you were a kid as well.
I know, like I look back and I'm like, I was 13. Yeah, I was really young.
That's interesting. When I speak with founders, they all have different kind of stories where they were selling something as a kid. Really?
Yeah, totally. There was something there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
doing this on Saturdays, so a lot of commitment for sure.
And now this, well, Elisa Perez Consulting, you started this alone, or Is there somebody helping you as a co-founder or early employee?
No, all by myself. Yeah.
Did you find the need of working in your personal brand to attract customers, or how are you doing the customer acquisition?
The outreach. Yeah, that's a good thing. And if I had to go back when I was thinking of like, okay, I'll do this by myself. This is kind of the idea that I have. I see this need in the market. One of the things that didn't cross my mind is that I had to sell. And then you have to sell. And that was something that was like not in my radar. I mean, I think I was ignoring it. Obviously, it is there. There is a lot of word of mouth that's very helpful. There is a lot of people that know me that reach out to me, and this could be like either people that have worked previously with me in Google or Meta that know how I work, and now they work in TikTok or in Google, or they work in Skyscanner, and now they reach out to me, and we collaborate, and I support them. But then there's I haven't done like proper kind of outreach to get clients. I think I have to do it at some point for sure. But so far, this first year has been good in that sense. Yeah.
It looks really good. I think if you didn't have to do it in the first year, I think you're good. Word of
Like I
mouth.
think I'm thinking as well of like any kind of lead magnet to get clients, and then I don't know, launch something. So I have like so many. I have more ideas than days for sure. So I have a lot of things in my head. So probably one day, yeah.
I think now, because for the podcast, I'm doing a little bit of outreach, and this is something the podcast, the founders chat, I couldn't have done few years ago because it could have taken so much time. And now with the different tools and AI can be done investing a little time. You can automate it.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's really nice. All right. And any tough moments in this journey?
Yeah, a lot of them, especially coming from working in tech with a lot of big teams, having an AI that was doing everything, all the scheduling for me and all the organization, having teams doing like, I'll tell you like something, just kind of an anecdote, but the first time that I had to build a deck for a client pitch, I was like, okay, who's going to do my slides? Because I think like for the last 12 years, I didn't do a single slide. And I was like, okay, probably me. And I did it. It was absolutely crap. So a friend of mine was like, Elisa, leave that with me. So now I have someone that helps me with that. But like, those are the things that suddenly is like, okay, I have to literally do from finance to like literally everything, right? Different difficult moments, I guess, when you doubt yourself. And I guess that's something that doesn't go away. Like talking to CEOs that I work a lot with, or entrepreneurs, they tell me like this is kind of the norm, right? Some days you're here, some other days you are like, is this what I should be doing? And I think moments of pivot when you have a very clear idea of like, I want to do this, and maybe I don't know, the market is not responding as you expected, or like there is no demand for that. And then you go like, okay, I pivot. Being open to that. And once you are okay with it, I think like things are way easier. But yeah, there were moments that I was like, yeah, shit, is this going to go ahead? And then I think like once you turn the corner and you go like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But you're still doing executive coaching. So you didn't pivot the product or the service, but what was the biggest pivot?
Well, for me, the pivot, I didn't want to do coaching at the beginning. So yeah. So I start my first idea was like working solely for the companies. And some of my friends were like, but we thought you do coaching, you're fantastic, you're so good. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to do it. There are way too many coaches in the market. And yeah, I don't want to do it. But then there was a point with the contracts with companies take months. Since the first meeting, then you have another meeting that like, because it's the amount of money is the sum is larger, right? So sometimes it takes like 6 months, 7 months. I didn't know that at the very beginning. And I was like, okay, this is going nowhere. So the first months I was like, I need some money, and I need to prove myself that I'm able to earn it by myself. And I was like, okay, and then I had some people reaching out for coaching, and that's how I started it. And I mean, and I in the end, it's something that I really, really love. And I was like, okay, so I'll do both. And then I had many other pivots along the way as well.
Okay, that's amazing. I didn't ask the question because I assumed you started as an executive coach, but
No, no,
even because, yeah, like when it's a product startup, I think it's everybody pivot many times before getting to the final product. Sometimes, and it's super normal to have these up and downs and that about your idea. But then
totally.
if you look at success stories like Slack, this one is a famous one. They had 15 pivots and they were in the gaming industry. And at some point, the CEO realized the software we built for internal communication in the company is the best thing we built. So that might be the product.
Yeah.
So it's insane.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, and that's something that I think it will continue for sure.
Yeah. And now I think we did speak about that, but I'm building Nexuk, and it's a platform for coaches and solopreneurs, because there is a big shift in the work industry, right? A lot of people are starting to have a side hustle, and a lot of people are leaving corporate to start working on their own. So there is a big shift now.
Yeah, yeah, totally. There is a big need as well, right?
Yeah. I well, you've been in corporate for much longer than me or many other people. 16 years is a lot. What is your opinion about people working for a large company and people working on their own? Because I think there is a big difference in performance, productivity.
Yeah, I think it really depends how you are measuring impact, right? And I think the big techs like the Googles, the Metas, the like Stripe, like all of them, they do have a performance system, a calibration system that's like very thorough, almost always, or as thorough as possible. While there are many other companies that I talk to, or that they don't do that, or they don't take it seriously, or they are not serious when it comes to goal setting. And I'm amazed how some companies still perform, are in the market and work, where they don't have the basics ready, right? Like they could be 100x if they had this performance kind of tied up in a way, right? So I think I don't know how all the entrepreneurs work, and I don't know if they're the most efficient either. So I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah. I fully agree with you. I think these companies that you are thinking about that they don't have performance mechanism and they are not super performing, they could improve by 1000%,
Yeah, yeah,
10x.
definitely.
They got super right the business, right? Sometimes if you have a super good business and the execution is average,
Yeah,
it still performs well. And I think what happens at the beginning with startups is that it's a team of super performers and they are trying to find out what the business is. That's why the iterations and the so many pivots. And I think that's why also when they get to the right business, they grow and improve super fast because it's a super performing team that struggled a lot. But when they got to the point that they found the product market fit, right? So basically, they can scale the business, is when they grow super fast.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's what I think. And okay, have you built any platform, like how are you handling your customers? Is everything through email spreadsheets, or you build a platform, or you are thinking about building something?
No, so far, like I have a small kind of manual CRM that works well for me. And then I use a variety of different platforms that help me, whether it is like stuff that's AI generated. I have also automated all the invoices, which is something that people do it. Like yesterday, I had a networking event, and then the people were telling me like, yeah, all this invoicing is very manual. I'm like, mine, it takes me a second to do. So like I think finding ways to help you optimize your day to day is what you need to do. No? And I'm always thinking, okay, how can I improve this, right? Or this is taking me too long. How can I make it shorter? Is there anything there that can help me? But generally, like I don't think I'm wasting much time on kind of repetitive tasks or anything like that.
on
Yeah,
admin.
yeah,
Yeah, nice. Okay, and going back to your personal day, how you spend your personal time to balance the work. How
yeah.
does a regular day looks like in your calendar?
Okay, so my calendar is my Bible kind of thing, right? Like if it's not in their calendar, it doesn't happen. And I don't have a personal calendar and a work calendar. I have like everything there. Where it is like, I don't know, like going to the doctor or like going to the gym or having meetings with clients, everything is there. So regular day, I do exercise in the morning, no matter what. Either it's gym or today I went to for a walk to I have a park El Retiro. So I did that. I always do meditation or breath work in the morning as well. And then I just kind of start working. I'm a learning facilitator for MIT. First thing I do is like maybe half an hour. I review assignments from students and kind of I'm just making sure that they have their answers. And so that's kind of the first thing that I do. Check email and then I just have whatever I have, the blogs that I have for that day. If I have sessions, I have meetings, I have to prepare, create. It really depends. And there's no one day equal to like similar to the other one. So I like that variety as well. That's kind of interesting. And I love that piece. And what for me, the best thing is like, I don't have these recurring meetings that you have when you are in corp that you got like, oh my God, this meeting that is like 90 minutes, that is completely useless and I have to be there. I mean, at the end of my career in corporate, I didn't try not to go to those, but like that's something that I'm like, I have none of those in my calendar and that makes me very happy.
Nice. And when you're not doing sports, you're not speaking with clients, and you're not doing admin, what are you doing? Are you trying to find out ways of doing outreach or finding new customers?
So it really depends. Like as I said, for MIT, I have to prepare classes, so I do that as well. I open up kind of my network. I do a lot of networking. I have like meetings with several people every single week, no matter what. And then I create content for either LinkedIn or whatever platform it is. And then I'm creating now a program. So like that takes months of creation. So there is a lot of also part of creating preparation. And then so now for September and October, I have a lot of workshops with clients that I have to get ready and prepare. So yeah, there is always stuff to be doing for sure.
Yeah, I think what I hear is there is a lot of personal branding, writing for LinkedIn, doing networking. I think the work industry is going that direction 100%.
Yeah.
I I don't think in the future highly qualified leadership roles will be available for people that don't have any kind of personal branding.
Yeah, I don't know how it will evolve, but definitely your personal brand is there for a reason, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But if you think about it, I don't know, 10 years ago, LinkedIn was kind of optional. And now I could say it's a requirement.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of need to. I mean, I have a very good friend working at Google, very successful, and she doesn't have LinkedIn. She's like, I don't want to. And yeah, fair play to her.
But she's been there for how many years?
For 15.
Okay,
Maybe that's why.
that's why. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's why.
I know a few of these people that they've been in the same job for more than 10
Yeah.
years. Before it wasn't necessary. So if you're in a company, you can grow inside. But I think to find something, it's kind of mandatory now. I might be wrong. I don't know. Maybe depending on the market.
I think for me, what I like as well is to be able to share my voice and my opinion on topics and to be able to share. I think that part is cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Completely agree. All right. And About the industry today, the ecosystem, what do you think? What trend do you think most people are underestimating?
In my case, I think probably a lot of CEOs or execs, the fact that, yeah, you can have like a business result. But if you work on your people and you have high performing teams, those business results are going to be faster, more efficient, and way, way better. I've worked with many teams in my career, and those that had like amazing leaders were performing extraordinarily and so much better than those that have mediocre leaders. And it's a matter of investing on some leaders are like kind of born leaders. Obviously you always need to learn and get better, but some other people are not born leaders, and even more you have to play and put attention on that. Yeah, for sure.
What do you think are the most important skills for a leader?
I mean, there are so many, but I think like how to build trust, how to build credibility with your team, for yourself, with your stakeholders. That piece is really important. How to be able to influence and fight for what's right, have a clear vision of what you want to do, how to bring people along with you, how to be able to execute as well, how to have this bias for action is really key to great leaders. Empathy, like the list is very, very long. But I think like those would be a good few to have. Good to have.
Yeah, I think we could spend hours speaking about leadership because
Totally.
I think there are perfectly working different leadership styles. You can see world leaders, Elon Musk versus Larry Page or other people that built great companies, and their leadership styles are completely different. But yeah, I think they all are able to build trust, motivate people using different techniques or having different
Yeah.
personalities.
Yeah, I think I'll disagree there. I mean, Elon Musk, I have friends that have worked in Tesla and they tell me horrific stories when he came into the office and stuff like that. So like if you have your team terrorized, like if they are so afraid of like when are you going to drop the next bomb, having people in that, I think psychological safety is something that's more and more important. So being able to feel safe at work is something that when you have a leader that one day will say one thing and the other one another, and it's just difficult. This is not about change management, which is a different topic, but like having a leader that's difficult to read.
That's super interesting because I agree with you, but at the same time, Tesla and SpaceX and
Yeah.
well, the companies that Elon Musk built are the best in their industries. Like
Yeah,
Tesla,
yeah, absolutely. But I'm talking about the quality of like how happy are their employees, right? The turnover of the employees as well. Like you can have amazing, and these friends that I'm talking about are engineers that were there for 2 years, really paid really well, and it's like as soon as I can, I'm out of here. I've Tesla in my CV for 2 years, 3 years, but like seriously, this is difficult to handle. And it's more about that versus another companies that work really well. So I was like 10 years in Meta. For 9, I was extremely happy because the culture, the values, the everything, there wasn't that aspect, right?
yeah,
So I think like you can have both.
nice. And how do you define success?
For me, success is going to bed and saying, yeah, today was a good day and having fun and being fulfilled. I think that's success.
Okay, and yeah, because today I had a good day. I think we can have good days when we're on holidays. But then you
That's
mentioned
successful.
yes, but I think if you're your whole life on holidays, right? You're missing something. And I think you mentioned feeling fulfilled, which
Hmm.
is a mix, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In the long term, feeling fulfilled feels like success.
I mean, if you feel fulfilled by being on holidays the rest of your life, I mean, good for you. And if that makes you happy, absolutely. Who am I to say that's not the right definition of success, right? I think success doesn't need to be working 18 hours a day. For some people would be, and that's great as well. For me, it is to feel fulfilled, have fun. And in this case, right now in my current life, doing something that I believe on and that makes me happy.
Cool. Okay, so now if you have to start again, what is the number one thing you wish you knew before you started?
I think the selling part that I didn't think it was so important of like, okay, how to have a, when I think when you come from these big names, right, the Googles, the Metas, you have a very big um, banner behind you, even if sometimes you don't know it, but there is like this company behind you. When you say like, yeah, I'm a director, people go like, okay, that's it. Like your worth is there, which is ridiculous, but it is what happens. So I think when suddenly you are on your own and you don't have a big name behind you, uh, you are no longer that, right? Although you are the same person with the same experience. It is a bit of a weird dynamic knowing that earlier in terms of like this is going to happen. Heads up would have been nice for me to think about that. I think also the sales piece, right? Like of you'll have to sell, and sell doesn't need to be convincing someone to do something, but like showing someone how you can support them and how can you help them to transform their business, to transform themselves. It's more about that.
But don't you think that having been there, okay, you're not there anymore, but it helps with your credibility, your authority, kind of it helps selling, but yeah, you still have to sell.
Yeah, it does in a way.
Nice. And if you have to send a message to your customers, what message will you send?
I would say I would talk about the future by default. That's kind of the explanation of if you don't do anything today, or if you keep doing things as you are doing them today, your future by default is very clear, right? It's going to be very similar. But if you transform that and change your future by default, then it's going to be completely different. So by transforming who you are today, you can transform your organizations and your teams. So kind of understanding that and seeing the how powerful that is, I think is kind of very revolutionary in terms in the sense of like how a business can be run.
Okay. And for example, if somebody now is listening and is thinking, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I want to change because I've been stuck for 5 years with the same team. I'm not super happy with the performance, how things are going.
Mhm.
How would you recommend them to start? Where to start?
Yeah, I think like asking themselves questions of where I am, where do I want to be, what can I do to get there. You can do that by yourself. You can do that with a coach. And if it's an organization of like we are stuck, or like I work with a lot of startups that are like we are here, we just had like 10 million round. We need to go internationally to this, and this. Um, do we have the right team? Do we need to elevate the team? How can we do that? So when you're asking yourself questions of like, this is really not helping me get into the next level, that's where I think like someone like me can help.
I have less experience than you speaking with executives, but I am advising startup CTOs, and I I would say 90% of the times they already know what they have to do.
Hmm.
If I go there and I start asking the right questions, I don't need to tell them what to do. They already know deep down what is not working and have ideas on how to improve.
Yeah, sometimes it's a matter of like having the space and the time to reflect, but knowing what to do. There is a space between what you know, what you have to do, and what you do it, when you do it. And moving from your thoughts to action takes courage, takes time, takes strategy.
Yeah. And sometimes I have the feeling that if something is not 100% broken, leaders are a bit afraid of making a mistake and making things worse. So I think in that scenario, having a coach, somebody with experience that can validate that what they're going to try is okay, it helps a lot, right?
Yeah, and what I've noticed with C-level, and even myself when I was a director at Meta, it is very lonely up there because you don't have a lot of people to talk to. When you are an IC or you're starting, like you have a lot of peers. But when you have a big team or you're like managing a company or you're running a company, who do you talk to? Like, so when I work with CEOs, they're like, yeah, I have no one to talk to, like, because who am I going to say to the people that reports into me that I'm struggling because I don't know if we're going to get to the next year? Definitely not. So I think like the higher they are, and especially for C-level positions, it is really key that they have someone to talk to, someone that understands the business, and someone that helps them move the needle and get where they want to, for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, it's
And even CEOs, sometimes you can't just share, in social media, or you're having problems that if people knew it can sink your company, right? I've been in startups in the past where sometimes we had 4 weeks of runway.
yeah,
If you're fundraising and you tell if you're super transparent about it, it can be very bad. Like employees can leave, and this
yeah.
affects your fundraising.
Even for investors, like there are certain things that, yeah, it's. I think it's an avenue definitely to improve, but definitely to have a someone to talk things through as well, and someone to help you navigate that and take action on the things you need to do.
Yeah, and usually there is always a way. Sometimes you wake up one morning with a great idea that is going to save your company or
Yeah,
grow your sales or anything. And when you're in this situation, super stressed, and you can't speak with anybody, sometimes it's hard to have ideas and be creative. It's like you're so stressed to have space
definitely.
for that.
Exactly, you need space to be creative, for sure. That's really really true.
And this comes also to lifetime balance. Usually, what I do, and I still do the same, is when I have a lot of work and I'm super stressed, I don't take holidays, sometimes not even single day weekends, or I take a day and I'm thinking about the problems I have in my company. And it's really, really hard to be creative. And then when you force yourself to go on holidays and disconnect, you never disconnect 100%, but you disconnect a little bit and then you start having great ideas and this kind of disruptive ideas that are going to save your company.
Exactly. I think like switching off or trying to switch off or changing the environment or changing where you're like, I was, for example, the heat in Madrid was unbearable. So I went to Stockholm for 10 days and I was working there. But changing the environment and changing what I was seeing and like it made me think in different ways as well. So you don't need to go anywhere. You can do that in your neighborhood as well. But going to somewhere that you usually go in a bit your
Yeah.
scenario in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think different techniques work for different people. I know people that can get this from meditation. I'm super bad at that. Usually, if I need to force myself, I go for a super long run, and this works for me, or traveling. But yeah, everybody's different.
Exactly what I think, like having in your kind of backpack a set of tools that you can open and pull is so necessary. And for me, like going for long walks or meditation helps a lot. Breath work as well. Go to the gym, and yeah, those things help for sure. Keep me
Nice.
sane.
And what do you think is your superpower as founder?
I think the energy that I have and how much I care about helping people and helping teams. I see their potential there, and I want to get the best out of everyone. And so I think like being committed 100% to do so, I think is a superpower.
It really stayed with me that you started when you were 13, helping people. At the end, you were kind of a coach, right? Helping them with math. And then after so many years in corporate, working at Google and then Meta, having director position, you went back to help people, help leaders in different companies, startups, corporate, improve their leadership. That's amazing. And this is something that leaders really need. The higher they are, the lonelier they are. So really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.
Ciao.
Bye.